I think cinema for me starts with a certain kind of familiarity. It is in a space of darkness and is a bit intimate because people can sit next to each other. Then there is fluctuation of brightness in front of me. And finally there are montage and emotions. And then I thought about how to reduce cinema into a fundamental unit, which is light to me. And since I had this concept or this framework, my practice and a lot of my works were departed from here. I guess structural film influenced me a lot since I was in college. I studied films by filmmakers such as Dan Brakhage, Michael Snow, Tony Conrad, and so on. But afterwards, I was particularly inspired by the works of Teresa Hakoncha. When I speak of structural film, I really think of the trajectory of the film, the form and the shape, and oftentimes it also reflects through the abstraction of the materiality and critique of the apparatus. Before the art museum established, there was another museum. So they operated until 1952. And then after then, I think the history was sort of not clearly written. And I was particularly interested in that part of the erasure or the gap. Very curious what happened. And then later I found out, actually in the 60s and 70s, actually particularly in the 70s, from 72 to 77, the building was a storage and a site that had confiscated books here, and there were librarians living here to sort out and organize all the books. And I think that's where the project for the staircases started, and I really felt lucky that I had the chance, or faithful, to actually encounter and actually saw these real books in the storage of this public library, which is not accessible to public. And I think that was a really fateful encounter in my mind, that actually witnessing these books in the state of sort of waiting for something but uncertain. Just kind of in this liminal space that's between waiting and abandoning. So the first time I had this idea of paper lantern could be a precursor of early cinema was actually in 2019 in Hong Kong, when I was making my first 60mm film. And then in the market, I found this bunny lantern. I picked this bunny lantern. And oftentimes, the body of paper lantern reflects different stories from different cultures. Today, I realized that living and returning helped me to ground a migratory position between New York, Hong Kong, and Beijing, to think about mobility a bit differently. Of course, mobility is a privilege that you can move around and across borders. But in the past few years, I intended to suggest that a migratory position as a way of traveling to repair, to form new social belongings and alignments, while the inborn hybridity of our identities would also flourish in this process of repairing.